This meeting being live stream. Got it.
Yep, it's preparing.
This meeting being live stream. Got it.
All right. Peace. Let me hit the volume on this one. All right, so I'll be working from that screen.
I'm getting ready to try to come off of the phone and see if we can do it just on the computer.
Okay. I'm getting ready to turn the volume.
I'm getting ready to try to come off of the phone and see. Can you hear me on the computer?
Okay.
All right, we in there.
Okay. I can hear you from here. Test the volume on your end.
Check.
All right, cool. Okay, we are live at the House of Tanya 23. Today, we have our brother Nubian Patah, and we're going to talk about this homeless situation in New York City. Is it the right decision to just put these people in mental health facilities? When I first heard the topic, then and there, I was like, okay, no, because we all know not everyone has a mental health issue. So I'm going to turn it over to my brother, let him introduce himself, and then we'll dive right into the topic.
Black Power. I'm Nubian Patah. I am a community activist. I'm a Black man. And I think that pretty much says everything. If you're a Black man or a Black woman, everything involved.
Absolutely.
So with that, I definitely want to get right into the topic.
Yes, welcome. Jump on in. So what did you think about it when you first were approached with it or heard it?
Well, I worked for the biggest shelter in New York City. It's in Wards Island.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work on Wards Island, and I was the assessment specialist. This may have been about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I saw a large influx of in that shelter was teenagers. And I was seeing a lot of teenagers. So just so you know, within the last 2 years, there have been 100,000 teenagers homeless.
Yes.
100,000 of these teenagers are homeless. And I want to back up and make this clear. Each night in New York City, there's roughly 63,000 people homeless each night.
Wow. And so the 100,000, is that in the entire state or just the city itself?
Just the 5 boroughs. And that's what's sad.
Yes.
Does my picture keep going in and out?
Yes.
You know, I'm going to take the green screen off. I'm going to take that background off.
That's what it is. Thanks. I know I have some great backgrounds too. It just never works. We actually have to have a green screen behind us.
I can't afford one of those.
A green background kind of thing. Or like green material. Something about the color green that it reflects very well. But yes.
Is that better?
Much.
Got it. So anyway, we're talking about 60,000 people being homeless each night. And we're talking about 100,000 teenagers being homeless in New York City. So I said that to say, you know, you asked me what I thought about the law, about them forcing people into mental health situations, and they're associating it with it. As a former assessment specialist, I can tell you that most of the teens I encountered were not mentally ill. The trend in New York, I can't speak for everywhere. The trend in New York is a lot of parents are putting their children out. You know, if Lil Raheem is selling drugs, or if they think they can't control him, the mother is sending them straight to the shelter. And I ran across plenty of young males that, I'm asking them, why, do you have family that you go stay with? And they like, nah. And I'm like, why did you get put out? And they're like, yo, my mom found a baggie in my room, or I was hustling, or what have you. And just for the record, for people like that, I always send them to a program called Ready, Willing, and Able.
Okay.
Ready, Willing, and Able, as long as you can pass a substance abuse test and you don't have any SMI, which is a serious mental illness like schizophrenia or psychotic episodes, they'll take you in, give you a trade. They'll take you in, help you get a trade. And after 16 months of being in that program, they'll help you get an apartment.
Ah, that's good. That's actually, well, they're going to need other services as well, but hopefully that's like written into the program. But yeah, there you go. Your camera was a little blurry before I was going to interrupt to let you know, but you got that. And so it seems to be like there needs to be a middle program. So say for instance, the parent kicks the teen out or the young person out. They go directly to the shelter. So they have an evaluation and they find out what their situation is. And so it's not a mental illness problem. What would be the next step? Like you said, you would refer them to that one program. But so then that program gets overloaded. Is there anything else?
Well, one thing I pride myself in is having, and I see my camera's blurred again. One thing I pride myself in is utilizing resources. Mm-hmm. So depending on what the person was talking about, what they were into, I would refer them to something like Catholic Charities. So Catholic Charities would help them get a housing voucher or help them get something. But the average stay in a shelter is like 585 days.
Say that again, I'm sorry, 585.
585 days. That's the average stay in a shelter.
That you could stay. So that's
those,
like a year and
585 days, a lot of people go and stay with a girlfriend, find a cousin, because New York is great for having this program called Pathways Home. So Pathways Home is, let's say I go to the shelter right now. I go to the shelter and I take the evaluation and go through the process. They'll ask me if I have anybody I can stay with. And that case manager are going to speak to that person and see if they have a space available for me to sleep in.
And that's the issue, right? A lot of times there is no space. So this place probably houses how many other people? And it's always that issue of an influx. So we're like, are all these smaller programs kind of working with each other, or is it the city? The only other thing they have are the mental health facilities. If they had facilities that actually offered the training, like say an old prison, redone, to house people that are homeless, give them the training that they need, perhaps a little bit of help them get a job, and let them transition into society. It seems as if, because that's a simple solution, but it seems as if they don't want it to happen. Because if so, it would be structured that way. So now we have them going onto the streets, bypassing all of the other options, mental health facility. That's definitely not going to work.
So in the last couple of years, at least, so even though I don't work in that sector no more, I keep up with it. I mean, because that's just one of the things I'm interested in. I keep up with it, and I know in the last couple of years, let me see, I think I wrote it down.
Because you would
think number one calls. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, sorry to interrupt, but you would think that Catholic Charities with the amount of resources that they are able to get their hands on, would partner with some, being that they're a non-for-profit, they could partner with some of the shelters and actually create like a movable transition program. That's an easy like solution. The problem is getting those that have the resources to put it in place.
Mm.
Everything is so convoluted when it gets into the actual help, you know.
It's really not convoluted, fam. You know what? New York is about numbers, period. Nonprofit is about numbers. We can sit around and talk, and you and I and 30 other people can come up with the best solutions in the world. It doesn't matter if it doesn't crunch numbers and make them money. They
Right.
want to make money. I'm gonna give you an example if you don't mind, just real quick. And I
Sure.
think it was like 2005, they had a thing called the Utah experiment.
Mm.
Utah housing experiment. What they did was they took 100 people. Hypothetically, they took 25 that were substance abuse users, 25 that were recently incarcerated, 25 that were HIV positive, and 25 that were chronic homeless. And
Okay.
they gave all of them an apartment, their own place for a year. And they told them, this is your place for an entire year. You don't have to pay no rent for a whole year. However, after that year is up, you have to maintain this rent.
Mm.
I don't
Now,
know.
depending on the individual situations, I would say that's a start, you know, being able not to pay rent and those type of bills that suck up most of your income. You can then, you know, get a job. Hopefully they help you get a job, or they giving you time a year. That's pretty decent, you know, especially if the person doesn't have any mental illness, then they don't have an excuse. They can go ahead and get into some kind of work program and begin to, you know, take care of themselves.
The program was 99% successful. Only one person failed to maintain their rent after that. One person.
Right. And
Because
that's
people
on
had
them.
the wherewithal to go out and collect cans,
Right.
get a job, get a training. Come on, in six, it's only to if we're being real, it only takes 6 months to become a truck driver. It
Yeah.
takes 6 months to become a barber. It
Right.
takes 6 months to get your CDL. It takes 6 months to
The
become a
nail
baker
tech.
or a cook.
The nail tech, right?
So
That.
think about it. You have a place to stay for 6 months. It
Mm-hmm.
takes
A
nothing
year
to
they
get
gave
a
them,
part
right?
job. You can get a
Yeah.
part-time job, go to a training, your rent is paid. Part-time job, public assistant, whatever. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
possible. It is possible.
It's really on the individual. So we have that program. That was the pathways. Then you have Catholic Charities. Um, they have a lot of, every state has their Catholic Charities, and they pretty much do a lot of work, but it's not changing the areas because most of it, like here in Baltimore, downtown is like the heart of where all these issues are, and they need the most help. You have the big building, it looks lovely and everything, but it's one of the worst areas. So,
Pennsylvania Ave?
sorry.
Is it on Pennsylvania Ave?
No, this is actually like Utah Street, like downtown Baltimore City is, you
Couple of
know,
state names.
right. It needs a lot of reorganization because like I've been here, I transitioned here from New York State. As soon as I got here, I was like, oh wow. Like I sucked up the system. Like at first I was like, it's the leadership. But then I found out it's the structure. It's everything is so old. Everything is like back in the day as far as systems go.
Yes.
So that in itself can have a people with no help, basically. They're like going around in circles to different things. There is no programs. If Catholic Charities does it, it's the only thing. But I actually was on the inside there, And you have to have like a disability or different things like that for them to try to help with shelter assistance. They would help with anything else. The hardest thing in this state of Maryland or Baltimore County is getting shelter help. And we all know the prices of rents are astronomical right now. And so the homeless problem here has multiplied maybe 3 or 4 times what it was since 2020. So that's an ongoing problem here, but there is no shelter assistance, not even like social services. So at least in New York, if you go through, well, it used to be if you go through social services, if you found a landlord that would take a voucher between you and them, you could work out a lease and they would help with your security and every month something towards your rent. Now, I don't know if that has changed, but it probably hasn't deviated much from there. And then, like you said, we have these other programs. So it's if people are still homeless and they are not taking advantage of what's out there, then we have to look at that. So what do you think about
I have a
that?
question about that. So we have the programs, but everybody's not taking advantage of it. And I want to point out that one, people don't take advantage of them because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that we fail to look at is the stigma surrounding it. We have to look at the stigma.
Right.
So I used to work with a intravenous drug program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to take my clients who use drugs intravenously to a hospital in the Bronx. You know what one hospital they never wanted to go to?
Which
Lincoln
one?
Hospital. Lincoln
Wow.
Hospital.
In
Never wanted to go
Harlem
there.
Hospital.
That's in
I'm sure
Harlem.
you've
If I
heard
took
of
them to
it.
Harlem, they didn't really want to go to Harlem Hospital, but
Right.
Harlem Hospital changed. But Lincoln Hospital has the worst stigma attached to it.
Wow.
It has the worst stigma attached to it because you have to know the history of Lincoln Hospital. Lincoln
Mm-hmm.
Hospital have been letting people die in the
Wow.
lobby while they were waiting. So just real quick, a lot of people don't know it, but there was an organization called the Young Lords, and they took Lincoln Hospital over in the
Mm.
70s. Yeah, they went in and held everybody hostage, took it over, and demanded that they change those practices. They were tired of seeing pregnant females come there, Latino, Black people going to come there, and they have to sit in the lobby for hours at a time. Women were having babies in the lobby. They could be in the lobby, and the portion that they put them in, people were getting bitten by rats. Children were like literally dying on the floor. And that stigma surrounding Lincoln Hospital is so
Mm.
bad. The Lincoln Hospital, I've been over there and I've had meetings with them. So they've changed a lot and they're
Mm.
trying to welcome people back in, but that stigma has gone nowhere.
Stigma.
It never
Well,
went anywhere.
they got to do a lot of work. I mean, it's going to happen because of, people have to utilize the hospital. But yeah, I probably wouldn't go there. I, but yeah, they made the stigma. Gonna have to work it out. So wow, was it just like overcapacity that they
Nah,
didn't?
nah, it wasn't over capacity, it was blatant racism. It was
Wow.
blatant racism because they know that around Lincoln Hospital, there's a lot of intravenous drug use.
Right.
They were not apt to take somebody. Because Lincoln Hospital is right on Third Avenue. Right down the
Mm.
block from Third Avenue is 149th. So up the block from
This is lower Manhattan is upper.
yeah. So you
Yeah.
had Grand Concourse all the way down to 149th and Third Avenue. That's
Wow.
where a lot of people are intravenous drug users.
Yeah. Hmm.
Prostitution, intravenous drug user, robbery, stealing, whatever you want to call it. These things are going on over there. And the hospital mentality is that we don't want to service them. So anybody that came there, if you were coming from Westchester or from Chester or White Plains Road, they still didn't want to service you because they just had it as it's the blacks and Hispanics. They're the problem. So let's not do anything.
Patient is a patient though, so
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
a patient. I was saying a patient is a patient though, and they do have rights. So all somebody had to do was blow the whistle a few times there, and probably
And
took
who was
more
gonna
than
listen?
once.
Who's
Yeah.
going to listen? let's not. We know better. I mean, nonetheless, had it not been for the Latino organization called the Young Lords that stepped in and did what they did, Lincoln Hospital wouldn't have opened the doors or switched up the way they switched up. So again, I want to make it clear they've changed a lot of things. They're a lot more welcome. They're a lot. But my point is the stigma that they created then. People don't forget about it. You still have people that are 60 and 50 years old still telling young people about, yo, man, I remember in the 70s, the Young Lords, and the reason why, and that carries on that stigma.
Mm-hmm.
And we're known for that. We are known for that.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's what I was saying about the homeless population.
That's it.
Huh?
But yeah, I said you hear one thing and that's it. But yeah, you have to, because I'm sure that spread around the community like wildfire. I don't blame them. But the thing is, do they have a lot of the drug treatment programs? It just seems like there's a overflux, but New York has been gentrified so much, so I'm sure that the blacks and Latinos are being forced into concentrated areas. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So you just asked the question, Mutulu Shakur. Mutulu Shakur is getting ready to come home. He's being released from prison, right?
Oh, wow.
Mutulu Shakur was the brother that started acupuncture in Lincoln Hospital to treat drug addiction.
Wow. Okay.
But most people don't know that. So,
what was the first name, Shakur?
Yeah, Mutulu Shakur.
Tula. Okay.
Mutulu.
Now, any relation to Afena?
I don't want to get off into the rumors.
Last name Shakur, so I'm sure the audience.
Get off into the rumors. There's a bunch of rumors surrounding that. Who was who and what happened when they were in jail and how she had the baby. It's all conjecture as far as I know. I wasn't there. I'm not sure about that.
I'm sure he's going to hit social media when he gets out.
I think he comes out next month. I'm not even sure.
He's got a book
coming. This brother been locked up for like 40 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Like 40 years on some monkey charge, but we got to do another topic on that. But
that's another show.
With the stigma, the same way they had the stigma about the hospital, that they have stigma about shelters and homelessness.
Right.
They have stigmas surrounding that, and people have the impression that if you're homeless, matter of fact, I want to stop and say something right quick.
Yeah.
To be heard, and I want to make it clear. The first people in New York City to get housed are mentally ill. Second people, I'm lying, I got that backwards. First people in New York City to be housed are people that are HIV positive.
Yeah, I was going to say that before through the program. They have specific programs. Once they find out you're HIV positive, they pretty much got you with everything.
Of course, it's called the back door. That program is amazing. And most people come to New York City if they're HIV positive because they know that they can get housing and services immediately. So we're talking about homelessness, and I need us to understand that New York City is one of the only states that have a program called Right to Shelter.
Right.
Right to Shelter. Like Boston doesn't have it. If you're in Massachusetts and you're homeless, you're just homeless.
I can't say it's not here, but I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, well, Right to Shelter means that you can show up to any shelter, tell them you're homeless, tell them what you're going through, tell them what you're going through, and they have to accept it.
Right.
It's mandatory.
If they have room.
If they have the capacity. But they also have the transportation. So if you get to this shelter and they don't have you, they'll give you a Metro card and send you to the next one. I think after a couple, then they'll put you on a bus and send you, it could be to Yonkers, it could be to Staten Island, wherever.
Right.
Just to house you. And the one thing I know is you don't want to be on that bus. When I was assessment specialist, you can't have an attitude. You be riding that bus all night.
Wow.
That's horrible. That is horrible.
I'm sure it is. The people aren't so nice. People aren't so nice on there, huh? Well, I can't blame them. And if you think about this economy now, more and more people are literally sleeping in their cars across America. The government seems to refuse to make a specific rent cap, and it really should go by the income of the person. I understand their profit opportunity, but it has to have a cap somewhere, because right there in lower Manhattan, where all the rats are running around at night, apartments are like $15,000 a month.
Right.
It's crazy. They turned a lot of the apartment buildings that were considered projects or whatever, converted them into like decent luxury apartments, and are charging thousands of dollars to the new people that have come into New York that are not Black, brown, or Latino. And so this is all you see. But I would have thought that the people would have come together and really address some of these issues in numbers.
What people?
All the way through 2020. Americans. Everybody. All we're doing is talking and putting the things out on social media is one of the best things you can do right now, but it seems like all we can do is talk, because the ones that have the resources to change these things are not hearing us, except through these social media platforms.
Do you think they're not hearing us?
I know they are. They're listening. Big Brother's always, what do they call him? Big Brother's always listening. But so they know that we're conscious about these issues. We know that all leadership in America sucks. If I did vote, I wouldn't even know who the hell to vote for. The guys that they have out here, Wes Moore is like a little Obama. He's an exact carbon copy of Obama. He is now the governor of Maryland. I may be joining you back in New York very soon. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I don't know what state to go to from here. But yeah, I was going to escape to Florida, but then their governor, he got ousted or something like that, and they're in the hot water, and then there was a flood there and all this stuff. So the thing is, right where we are in our communities is where we got to begin to make the change, because most of us are stuck in our communities. So we might as well make the best of it.
But that's a great point. That's a great segue into something, right? So you remember I told you it's 100,000 youth that are homeless each year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize that the purpose for that, I mean, the reason for that is us as a people, we are starting to believe that shelters are the correct place to send our youth. That, you know, our son or daughter acts up and they're being unruly, and as we put them out, knowing that they don't have nowhere to go, and you know, we should send them to a shelter. Like, you can really hear people saying,
yeah, they could get put out and go there and experience things they never experienced at home.
If people never been in the shelter, they don't know what shelters are. Like,
I've never been, and I hope I never do.
Well, I'm letting you know right now, gangs are starting to control shelters. How about that?
Oh yeah.
How about that? Gangs are starting to control shelters. If not the gangs, the dudes that are coming home from prison. If not the guys coming home from prison, the sex offenders. Because it's hard to house a sex offender in New York. It is hard. You know, when I used to have to work with sex offenders, I would just tell them right off the muscle, hey, you come out better moving upstate. Getting housing in, not gonna happen.
There's a lot of sex offenders all over. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And listen, I'm not the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to sex offenders. I have views on it, but sitting down, listening to people's story or what makes them a sex offender, you know, I'm a little biased. I'm just not going to say all of them are bad guys. I know for a fact I met several young dudes that became sex offenders because they was with a girl and the mother got mad, or not even the mother, but somebody in the family got upset and they wanted to change the dynamics of the relationship
Mhm.
and say it was something that it wasn't, when in fact, people knew that they were a couple all this time, but the age difference.
Wow.
I'm not talking about 13 and 17. I'm talking about she might be 16, he might be 17.
Right.
17, he's 18. Little
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Right.
Keep your personal registered sex.
So society is being forced to try to be the parents once the parents, dump their kids off on society. That's a big problem.
But it's the mentality of the people.
Oh,
At what point do we start trusting this system to the extent that we think that we can send our child through the system and they'll come out correct?
right.
When did that become normalized? When?
And it doesn't work. It doesn't. You really have to deal with your own issues. You got to deal with your family. You got to deal with your kids somehow or another. If y'all can't control, if you don't see the control thing there, you don't see the respect to, you got to try counseling. You got to try anger management. And us as a community, we have to stop looking at that as a stigma also. It's actually a benefit and an opportunity. And it's um, private, you know. Sometimes when you talk to people in shelters or whatever, somehow someone might get to know your business or whatever. But when you go to counseling, by law, you're not going to hear that other than with your counselor. Me personally, I would like the privacy, you know what I'm saying? To have someone that you could talk to and literally talk about what your issue is in an unconditional place. And that's a lot of times that's what people need. But that's not really offered unless you go to counseling. And it has to be paid for somehow.
And that's a segue. That's a segue back into the topic. Should all these people that are considered homeless and or chronic homeless, I don't know if you know, but chronic homelessness is a mental health diagnosis.
I was going to say that.
That's
Not being able to manage money also, you know, because not everybody is a drug addict. You know what I'm saying? Some people literally have money management issues, you
they're
know?
not taught to manage money. If you haven't been taught to, you're 16, you've been living with your parents all your life, and you and your father get into an argument or disagreement, and now he puts you out. Now you have to go to a shelter, and you got to sit there and wait to get a voucher, and then you finally get a voucher, and then they give you an apartment. When did you learn money management skills? When
Yeah.
did you learn how to care for yourself?
Right?
Exactly. A lot of this stuff is not really being taken into consideration, and ignorantly. It, you think that's something?
Literally needs to be structured like they try to structure other things like school. We all know that the way school is structured doesn't exactly mean you're going to come out knowing everything you need to know, So, but you don't see that same structure in society. It's like once you get out there, you got to learn a trade, you got to learn how to do a job, you better do it well. If that doesn't work, you either start your own business or it's like certain things that you can do, which is a lot, but you still need to know. I think money management should be taught in schools. They should learn that little banking calculations that they have out there. The things that need to be taught to make somebody productive in life is not taught in school. We're sending our kids out there to learn a bunch of information that they're not really going to use except for math and science. You can definitely get through life without social studies because if you want to know, you can find that out. Just go to any library consistently and you can educate yourself on history. But math, science, uh, how to manage a home. Because, see, they know that a home is a business. You manage it the same way. And you also manage a family like you would manage a business. So, right. A lot of times the parents don't even know it because they're stuck in the 9 to 5 system of working. And so, yeah, you have to literally seek out that information now. But for a society to be functional, these things need to be taught in these schools that we are sending our kids to 6 hours out of the day. We're working 8 hours. You get home, you might go through the homework, talk to them a little bit. If you're married, you're off to see what's going on with your spouse, you're creating dinner, and whatever else might pop up. So there is no time, and they make sure you don't have no time. So, like, to me, the whole structure of life right now is not to produce, someone that can make it. Like, you really, like they said, only the strong will survive is an understatement right now.
That is definitely a fact.
If we know, we have to teach our own kids at home. That's what I did. I come home, what you learn. Okay, that's what they say, but this is what really happened. And I also had to get them their own little bank accounts, show them about money, give them money. Sometimes I didn't even have it. I will take 20. And between 3 is something, but still, they needed to learn that. They needed to know money and the value of money. I taught my kids that early on. But so as parents and as people, we have to step up to the plate. If you don't have a mental illness, you don't have an excuse.
Top 3 reasons for homelessness in New York need to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
The top 3 reasons for homelessness in New York need to be addressed. Don't address homelessness. Let's address the root cause.
Right, exactly.
One cause is affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is addiction.
Take advantage of rent pricing.
Affordable housing, number 1. Addiction, number 2. And domestic violence is number 3. Why do we keep putting a Band-Aid on it instead of addressing the core issue?
Yes.
You're absolutely right. If the system is not addressing those 3 number 1 issues,
and they're getting worse.
What are we doing? You're not addressing addiction, so a person can go through the shelter, stay addicted. Because I don't know if you know, but a person can be in the system and get all of this, not all of this, but they can get assistance and still remain addicted
every month, and they can qualify for whatever programs are out there, because a lot of times someone that's addicted will get approved for disability before someone that actually has a disability. That happened a lot in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of tapering off now, and it just seems to be with whatever leadership is in charge at the time, you kind of see a fluctuate in things. But yeah, it's definitely getting to the point where they're going to have to address it. So that's why Mayor Adams is coming up with some sort of solution. But that was like a quick kind of, like he was pressed to do something by someone that had a lot of money. So he came up with that little bullshit solution.
Somebody had a lot of money.
Health facilities are like, wait, what? Where's the checks? Because I'm sure that they have to pay the mental health facilities for taking this influx of people in. That's coming out of the city, which is going to come out of the workers' pockets. So.
But to me, him talking about mental health, that's just a quick fix. And it's pacifying people because people don't know any better. If people listen to the media, they would think that only homeless people hang out on the trains and in the subways, when that's not reality.
And that all homeless people are mentally ill. A lot of them are, I must say. I actually haven't ran into any that weren't in quite a while. Here in Baltimore, I forget what year, maybe 2019, 2020, they ended up closing a mental health facility. And everybody that was in there was told they had to leave. And so they walked
to another facility?
right onto the streets. Couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Literally, this happened. I don't have the names, but if you look it up, people learn how to get your research. Google mental health facilities shut down in Baltimore, people on the streets. It'll come out because it happened. It happened in 2019, 2018, something like that. But I couldn't believe it because I was actually working in downtown Baltimore at the time, and I noticed this influx of, mentally ill people near the bus stations and stuff, like the bus stops or whatever. And yeah, that's what I was told. And it was right around the corner from a police station. So it's systematic, a lot of these things, but a portion of it can be avoided if we took more accountability with our children and our family members and ourselves. Gotta do it.
That's an excellent point.
Mentally ill, there is no excuse. So
I want to share a quick
solutions. What would you say a solution might be?
No, I was going to tell you a quick secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I have a cousin who's mentally ill, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin who's mentally ill, or not even mentally ill. I have a cousin that's in the shelter, right? That cousin can go right to the shelter, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna back up and tell you a real story.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a Jewish dude that came to the shelter. He looked out of place from the time he got there.
Mm-hmm.
He looked out of place. All he did was do the intake. He stood off by himself. He got his bedroll. He didn't sleep on the bed. He left the shelter at 3:00. He showed up at the shelter every day at 10:00 for the count. Then he would stand off in the corner. Then he would leave again at 3:00. And then he finally got his voucher. Well, he didn't get a voucher. Then after he spoke to the case manager, and he told the case manager, he's like, yo, I got a cousin that I could live with, but my cousin don't have the financial means to support me. Cousin, the case manager went to the dude's house, spoke to him, he agreed with it, and they paid him $1,200 a month to let his cousin live.
Wow.
$1,200 a month to live there.
Now, if people knew that that was an option, I'm sure that family members will probably be a little more accepting because, once you take a person in, that's now they're on you. Whatever you eat, they eat. So that was decent. So it's up to the case manager to make that determination. So they have
actually a scam. It was actually a scam.
Oh.
It was a scam. He lived with
like a good thing.
Think about what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
These people have access to information that all our people don't have access to.
Right.
Instead of putting your child out, how about you tell your cousin, hey, listen, I'm having a problem with Raheem. Can he come and stay with you? After he get out the shelter, he's going to go to the shelter, go to this program, and they're going to pay you to let him stay there. How simple is that?
Exactly.
How simple is that? But everybody don't know this. And is everybody willing to sacrifice and make that sacrifice to go stay in the shelter for a couple of weeks, couple of months, or however long until they get a voucher, or until they get, that program to pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you went to the shelter in New York right now, the shelters are paying $800 a week for a room.
Wow.
A room, $800 a week for a room. But a room in New York is
more than that, like about 1,600, huh?
And we're talking about a room. We're talking about a room.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a one-bedroom or studio. We're talking about a room.
In a house, right? Wow. You mean I could get $800 a month for my office?
With ease. As long as you have a place for them to sleep. As long as you have a space.
Right.
Space for them to sleep.
Kind of like the system for the program with the children, like a temporary adoption, or what they call it, a foster parent. Yeah, that's another system that's overloaded and interesting. a lot of children are being put in the wrong hands, and it seems that
Oh my goodness.
they will place them anywhere. So, lots of issues, but that was a pretty good secret. And for those viewers, definitely understand that secret and tell a friend.
Yo, I said that because I want people to get it out of their head that sending us. I want my people to get it out of our head.
Right.
Sending our people to the shelter is the solution. That is not the solution.
Right.
Sending our people to the shelter is not the solution.
No.
That is horrible, especially if you haven't taught this person skills, if you haven't helped them learn how to survive. I'm a grown adult. I'm in my 50s, and I still struggle with navigating this life. I swear to you, I just said it the other day. I was like, I wish my pop was here because I got 1,000,001 questions to ask him.
Exactly.
This dude was successful. He knew what it was, but I'm still struggling through this. I still make mistakes. I still stumble. I still second guess situations.
Right.
But here we are talking about an 18, 19-year-old youth that's been nowhere, haven't seen anything.
Right.
How are they supposed to go out here and survive? Go to the shelter, get on public assistance.
That's just really the parent not taking accountability.
But don't you think it's ignorance also?
To help, they have to care.
But don't you think it's ignorance also?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at TV, if you look at social media, or if you listen to let's go back to Eric Adams. If you listen to Eric Adams make it seem like the immigrants who came here, we got a place for them to stay and we're gonna do this.
Yeah, they got all these places to stay. And I heard they gave out a lot of money to them too when they first got here. Very interesting. A lot of stuff being done under the rug. It comes out, but not in time to stop it, never in time to stop it.
And then by the time you find out about it, guess what? We have a new issue to address.
Exactly.
Focus on that. It's a brand new issue to address. This is horrible. But yeah, as far as the shelter system, I think that, like you said, I think the system itself is broken. And instead of us, thinking that, mental health is the issue, I don't think mental health is the issue.
No.
Let's address the fact that you have 100,000 teens homeless every year. Let's address that.
Right, because you could literally develop a mental health issue trying to come out of this homeless situation,
Even worse, during COVID, this is a hurtful fact, but I have to give it to you. During COVID, the rate of sex abuse went up like 8%.
Yeah.
It wasn't leaving the house. And the child couldn't escape. Not just the child, but the female, the molestee couldn't escape to school or work. They were trapped in the house with that predator. And some people just took it upon themselves, I'm going to a shelter. This is too much. But why that person in the shelter? Yeah, I mean, if you ask Eric Adams, the answer is, that person is mentally ill. It can't be that person's trying to escape a horrible situation.
Right. I know. So what are they going to walk up to the people on the street and how you assess? Well, some of them you could tell right off the bat if they're mentally ill, but, for the others that have to prove it, what is the assessment like? It's just crazy. They're going to be walking up to families, sleeping in cars, people like Walmart parking lots. It's like a thing in America that those are the locations where families go to sleep overnight, kind of look out for each other or whatever. The parking lots. Yeah, it's crazy. But then you have some people that choose to sell every darn thing they have and just backpacking in life around America. The freedom of doing that, and it all depends on how you look at life right now, because the structure of you got to have a shelter somewhere, but the thing is, the form of it is changing. Have you ever seen the architecture of what they call the little house? And they're like just little spots. It's like one bedroom or something, but
those are shipping containers.
Yeah, shipping containers.
I saw those.
And to tell you the truth, if you're homeless, would I rather be out on the streets or sleeping in a container that looks like an apartment. I'll take the container.
That's
But, you
that's
know, it's
because
creativity.
you're used to a house. I know
Yeah.
people that sleep in the Bronx, that sleep on the post office steps. I know a couple of dudes that sleep on the post office steps on Grand Concourse, right
Mm,
on the corner of Grand Concourse and 149th. They sleep on the steps. I know several of them dudes.
mm.
They just won't go into a house, won't go into an apartment. They just refuse to. They're uncomfortable there. They would rather, and to me, you know how tough you have to be to
I
sleep in
know.
an open space.
I know. Outside to like sleep with anyone can do anything to you, you know. And there are a lot of people that will, and they are out there being abused by, evil ass people. Yeah, that's not anything to write home about to have to sleep on the streets. A lot could happen in 24 hours.
Hmm. And
Trying to survive out there.
I want to add another variable to that homeless thing too, right? So in New York, if you are home, if you what they call a deadbeat dad,
Mm.
they snatch your driver's license
Oh yeah. Hmm.
and they start garnishing your check. So
Yeah.
if they're garnishing your check and you're only making $300 a week, let's say you make $400 a week. You
Hmm.
make $400 a week and they're taking 150 out of that.
Right.
You're taking one. How are you supposed to survive or maintain your apartment or even pay your
They
room,
say.
pay for a room? How are you supposed to do that if they're
Yeah.
doing that to you?
I know a lot of young men that some of them have more than one child support case going in their check at one time. And it's per week. Like it's crazy. Back when I had my children or whatever, I went through child support one time. They awarded, was it $50 a month or something to that effect? You know, I was like $50 a month. After that, I never ever went back there again. I just took care of my own responsibilities. Maybe I need to pick up another job or whatever. But yeah, and didn't like add it up to like $56,000 or whatever. But it was just crazy. I never got anything from it. It didn't benefit me at all. And it would have just been days me taking off work to go to court and all this other crap.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense. And now the increase, they say 17% of your income, but I know some people that's getting a lot of money taken out of their check all the way until the child's 18. And the children are very young. So,
Yeah, but if you're not making 35, $40 an hour,
exactly.
that 17%, if you're not making 35, $40 an hour, that 17% can absolutely wreck your check.
Yeah. Yeah. And after the taxes and all the other shit that they take out, if you're paying for health insurance,
What a
So
lot of dudes in New
they
York are doing is they're,
can
they're quitting
literally
their job.
force people into the damn poorhouse with that.
Well,
And
they're quitting
parents
their
are
jobs, they're
so
going to the
mean to one
shelter,
another.
they're getting
Yeah.
on public assistance, and they're hustling.
A lot of the parents or whatever, when they do the child support, if the mother got one any public assistance, they don't get the child support money. The state gets it back. If they received any child support, I mean, if you're on child support and you receive social services, that child support order pays back the state. When they get their money back, then you can start receiving checks. But they take that money back for food stamps, shelter, all of that. And once you get awarded child support, you gotta pay them back. So the mother is better off trying to work something out with the father, trying to co-parent, put all y'all little bullshit aside because it's not about you, it's about the kid, and try to work something out because this system is not set up for the mother or the father. It
At
just
all.
causes, families, there's counseling for that too. But families need to, like, if you have a child by somebody, you need to grow up real fast. You know, that's another show for another time. I kind of got off topic, but
No
we
big
can
deal.
talk
You know what the
about that
common
for another time.
denominator in everything we talk about is
Hmm.
capitalism.
Yeah.
American capitalism.
Yep.
American capitalism is at the core of everything. There's no altruism. Don't get me wrong. You were talking about Catholic charities earlier, and I don't know if everybody know it, but Catholic charities allot a certain amount of money to this. They allot a certain amount of money to that. So even if they're doing something, they're not doing enough to make a dent or make a real impact in it.
Right.
And I don't want to just pick on them. I want to point out organizations in general. These non-profit organizations that you think are out here solving life's problems, they're just really out here collecting numbers, collecting data, so they can get more money, so they can get more funding.
And a lot more. Yeah, it gets kind of gruesome down that rabbit hole, but yeah, it's definitely not about the help. It's just there to appear like it helps the community. But yeah, not at all.
I got a question. I'm getting ready to jump over here and let you finish. I have a question. What is next week's topic going to be?
Very interesting, because we came up with a few during this conversation, but you never know as the days go by and life is so exciting. Some shit could really pop up, like. But let's see. The next thing. I mean, it seems that most people have warned Kyrie and Ye out with this situation, but it keeps on developing. The more our friend Kanye or Ye talks, things are developing and boomeranging and remixing and all kinds of stuff right now. So, got to get up to breast on that. How about you come up with a topic?
It is done.
Solved.
It is done.
Oh, we'll bounce back and forth if I think of anything, but it's so much going on. I don't know what the range of topics are, but you pretty much want to stay with the social issues. And I don't know. Lately, being a follower has come up. We got all this following going on and no leaders. It's like better being a follower or something. I don't know. It just seems like people are tired. There's only a handful that are willing to shut the shit down with our words before we can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Words that I think will be a great topic.
Yeah, I bursting at the seams with all kinds of topics, because I'm far out with the range of things that I'm soaking in at the time, but I'm open to talk about whatever topics.
I think we have to talk about accountability and get that out of the way, because you talked about that earlier. You mentioned it a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
And you already know that I'm a proponent of the people at all times, no matter what's going on. I will always find these sun dodgers at the core of our problem.
Absolutely.
I always find them at the core of any issue we have.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about homelessness, I can point to them. You talk about substance abuse, I can point to them, no matter what. And I think we need to talk about accountability. What should our people be held accountable for?
That's true, because a lot of the things for accountability are things that are kind of out of our control. So that's a good one.
And more importantly, I think that right now, I mean, what made me think about that is we got these two idiots running for senator in Georgia. And I said what I said. I said idiots. You didn't say that. I said that.
That's okay.
Backlash, let it come to me. They got both of these idiots running for this position, and neither one of them have they don't have strong values or beliefs toward Black in any way.
Right.
In any way. They are absolutely on some we the people, 40 years. They're on that mentality.
Wow.
And the accountability comes in with the Black people that are going out voting for, supporting, or promoting these idiots. You're promoting this trash to our children. Like, I'm gonna say this, and I'm definitely gonna log off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you hear what Herschel Walker is talking about, vampires and werewolves, and then he's talking about cows and and the three bulls, and the dude is saying, yo, America is great. If you don't like it, you can leave, and you can't find no place better. He's saying this trash, and there's some black person out here supporting him. So they're supporting him, and the children are seeing it.
Right.
The children are seeing that. So the children are seeing that, oh, we can support a sellout. We can support a clown. We can support a complete idiot. And we're within our bounds. But the parents ain't explaining to them, listen, I'm supporting him because I'm a Republican and I don't know no better. I'm caught up in this Republican Democrat thing. And because this is the party I support, I have to support him. They're not sitting down explaining that to the children. So the only thing was saying, yo, the dude was talking about vampires and werewolves. Then he went from talking about an election to an erection. What are we doing here? You didn't hear that?
No. What is his name? Herschel Walker. I'm gonna have to look him up.
Of course, that idiot. Of course, that idiot. Then he talked about he said the problem in the black community is black males having children and not taking care of them. Then we come to find out he got children that he's not taking care of.
Ain't that a Negro for ya? Now I said it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take credit for that.
Okay, I just say the igga.
But my point is that we definitely need to address accountability and what we should.
Both parts. That's good. So we can talk about, we can do male and female accountability. I'll do
that topic. I want to make it clear right now. I'm scared of that gender thing.
Only
because I'll tell you why. Only because I don't
need to be addressed.
I don't think white supremacy is attacking black males alone. I think they're attacking black females. So instead of wanting to address black women, I would rather address the enemy.
Right. I feel like they're using the black woman to attack the black man.
That is the issue for me. I get tired of hearing black women, black men, black youth, black trans, black this. I get tired of hearing that. Yeah. I just want to hear black people, us as a people. I'm one of those. I'm one of those Pan-Africanists. I don't believe in black. I don't believe in transgender, female. No, I feel it's us. Now, issues that we have amongst ourselves, I feel that we should address those issues in-house. I don't think that should be addressed for the world, because that turns into
That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. If we took care of our own tribes, if we worked things out, we just have to be able to address these darker energies that are present within our communities. We're going to call them darker energies because we're going to call it for what they are, you know? And so, yeah, just like we praise each other for the good things, we definitely need to step to each other about the negative things. And we got a lot to step to each other about, you know? We got a lot of folks in our family, and we know they ain't about shit. And we will be okay with them long as they ain't messing with us. And then they go and taking advantage of somebody else or perhaps hurt them. That's okay, because that's your cousin and type shit like that. Well, those days are over. Yeah, accountability. We need to be accountable. Yeah, I see a lot of that. That shit burns me up.
So we're going to do this weekly? Is this going to be our time slot? What are we going to do?
Yeah, so this is our announcement. We have made a commitment to come on and challenge these issues weekly, and we're looking for your support. It is what it is. We will be talking about things that need to be talked about, and so here we are.
That's what it's going to be, family.
Okay, all set, and Nubian Ptah, we getting ready to shut it down. That's it. We're not getting on here talking about naming those celebrities, and we don't give a shit what they do because they're not using their money to help our communities either. So bye-bye. Now we're going to talk about what we can do. So yeah. Thank you all for attending. We're both going to log out and enjoy the rest of our Saturday evening, and we will be back. When will we be back? Again, will Saturday be our day?
How about you and I talk over the next couple of days, and we'll select the day, and I'll definitely post it on my social media what day I'm coming.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you, and I appreciate all of your input. And we'll be back next week.
Black power to you, family. Stay safe.
Black power. Peace.
Peace.
Okay, family. So that ends this segment of the House of Tanya 23, where we are attacking issues that need to be attacked. And let's not take the word attack like so seriously, because these are issues, and issues have to be attacked. Okay? So until the next time, peace from the House of Tanya 23, always working on self-development.